Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Vital Information Show. Like I told you guys, I want to make sure that we have everything on point with our new level and layer of presentation and making sure that this talk radio show goes out real well and we do real good with it. And you guys can follow me on YouTube, Talk Radio, and you can also find me also on Vital Information, my show that I have on YouTube. And I want to make sure that everything that we do in our talk radio show and some of our segments are pieced off in certain ways that we're able to bring you the fresh new content, what's going on, and everything else. Child, this has been one wild news week. Um, you would think when you're getting your feet wet in a level layer of moving into different segmentations in talk radio that it doesn't be this wild when you first start, right? So the first story that we have to talk about today is a level layer of the young Dolph situation. There's more updates. There's a war in Memphis right now, and we're going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. Not that I really want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, but we know what time it is with that. But I want to make sure we give you the fresh news content and everything else. So this is our daily news flash. So I want to make sure you guys get everything, and we're up to the minute. Just a moment. Let me open up the floor. All right, got it. So we're going to start with what we talked about the last time when we were on and talking about Love and Layer of Young Dolph, War in Memphis, and then we have the Rittenhouse acquittal. So we're going to start with the most interesting topic of the day, which will be Young Dolph, Lord rest today. So as of right now, I've gotten some audio and things like that about what's going on. Evidently, there is a level and layer of some people that have been caught up in shooting at the memorial site at Makita's Cookies in Memphis. I mean, who does that? That is so ghetto and ignorant. Like, here's the audio, y'all. I want y'all to hear it first before I have to give you my commentary because I had to take my breath for a second. I started to say something. And y'all know me. I was like, what the deuce is wrong with you people? Like, do y'all ever think before y'all do anything? So it was a level and layer of there was a shootout already at the level of the memorial site. Memphis police then called them and everything else. So I'll let y'all hear this audio and whatnot. I just was not expecting that because I was like, I am not ready for this. And you know how you just sit there and think you would think people would care about people's mental health, their emotional health, their safety, and then everybody's around here scared right now because, like, rightfully so, this is a bad situation. So we're finding out that there's a level and layer of the shootout. I'll let y'all hear this audio, and that there's a level and layer of one of the shooters that shot Young Dolph was shot. So let's go by the three that were arrested at Young Dolph's vigil shooting, and then we'll go back.
Some to grieve, others to pay tribute. I just really had want to stop by here because I kind of feel the pain, with his family going through. But after two shootings in less than 48 hours.
Two shootings, but it's already went up to 10.
Want to be identified is left shaken.
My life was in danger because I don't have anything to do with it. I'm just really just up here paying out some respect. And it was like, Lord, I can't get killed. I can't get shot because I'm a grandma.
A man was shot in the thigh Thursday evening. Memphis police believe Terrence Jones pulled the trigger from the backseat of a stolen vehicle as he rode past the vigil. Shortly after the shooting, MPD officers say they chased the vehicle to Kerr Avenue and Mississippi Boulevard and found the car wrecked. MPD says Jones and two other individuals took off running from police and were ultimately caught. MPD recovered 6 guns, and one of them is believed to have been stolen.
I feel like that they got what they asked for, you know. The police got him in custody, and I'm glad that they did that because they could have shot innocent other people from here.
Since the shooting, Memphis police have added surveillance cameras and increased patrols in the area. Reporting in South Memphis, Jordan James, WREG News Channel.
So that's WREG Channel 3 News in Memphis. So these fools done sat up here and wrecked out over there down the road from where they shot at the vigil and stuff like that. Like, to me, don't y'all have enough respect for the dead that y'all realize that this person's passed away? People are still mourning the death of this man. He just passed away, and they're just now finding out from the rumor mill, from what I'm hearing, low to the earth. They might have the suspects of who did it and whatnot. And this is what I'm hearing. It's not confirmed just yet, but from what I'm hearing is they know who did it. And there's somebody that actually is saying that they do know who actually did it. So I'm going to get that, and then I'll come back with you guys again about that, because I got to listen to the whole thing first, and then I'll be able to tell y'all exactly 100% if that's true or not. Because there's some people who are conspiracy theories, and then there's some people who are actually telling the truth. So I'm trying to figure out what's what and everything else. And it's going to be a long one. Like, this person's usually long-winded, so I pretty much trust what they're saying because they talk too much anyway. And thing is, I be hearing stuff. So I'm like, okay, what's up? You know what's going on. So that's that. We got the other part where they're saying one of the shooters that shot young Dolph was shot by his friend. Let me skip that.
By time, only slash security guard, breaking it down piece by piece. Keep giving y'all updates. It seems like every hour something happens revolving around this Dolph situation. So as it keeps unfolding, I'm keep giving y'all video by video. Now let's get into it. Now in my other video, I explained that witnesses were saying Dolph did have someone with him, a security slash homie that was with him.
Okay, so per this person, they're saying that Dolph had security with him, but they was just caught lacking and slipping. And evidently the person who shot Dolph actually got shot. So they have blood evidence of somebody being there.
That did shoot back. And in my other video, I'm like, well, if he had security or his homie with him that was shooting back, then how did the shooters walk up on Dolph and stand over him and
Good question.
finish him off? And this is how the shooters was able to do that. Witnesses say once the shooter jumped out and shot him, his homie slash security, I don't know if he was the security guard or he was the homie with the fire, you know, being on some security shit. You know how the rapper do, you know what I'm saying?
So they don't know if that's real security or not.
They say his friend was with him, but he did not drive with young Dolph. He drove his own car, and his car was parked on the side of the building.
Okay, so that's by that alley.
He ran to the side of the building. I don't know if he ran to the side of the building to take cover or if he ran to the side of the building to get his gun. But when the shots was fired, he ran to the side of the building. Now, while them jumping out and shooting, it was, I'm talking about, probably happened in about 10 seconds. So the time they jumped out and ran up on Dolph shooting, by the time Dolph homie slash security guard ran around that corner to get his gun or to take cover, Dolph was already dead.
Okay.
It just that bad.
So You just heard it. Basically, they're saying that the homie was with him. Don't know if that's real security or not. It was just like a homie, and he kept his tool on him or whatever. So it sounded like literally the homie ran for cover because as soon as they jumped out, they like that. So basically, as soon as that he's trying to run for cover and trying to go ahead and cover his homeboy, he's already dead because they done shot him dead to the right on the ground. So by the time he get his tool and ready to bust back and stuff like that, so they must have hit the dude. So that's why there's blood and they have blood of the person. So they probably have to run that through CODIS and things like that and through the system to see if he has any priors and whatnot to see if they got a blood match of the shooter. This is crazy, y'all. So let's finish listening to it.
In that area. I don't know if he ran to the side of the building to take cover or if he ran to the side of the building to get his gun. But when the shots was fired, he ran to the side of the building. Now, by them jumping out and shooting, it was, I'm talking about, probably happened in about 10 seconds. So the time they jumped out and ran up on Dolph shooting.
He was there.
By the time Dolph homie slashed security guard, ran around that corner to get his gun or to take
cover or whatever.
It happened just that fast. It was already dead. Now this when after a while, okay, he run around the corner, he come back. He come from around the corner, witnesses say he come back and fire, shooting up. That's when you see pictures of them running back to the car. There's nothing he could have done.
That was an ambush.
People in Memphis say it's nothing that guy could have done. Now, if he was sitting in Dolph's car, or he drove with Dolph, I think it either would have been two dead people. Him and Dolph would have been dead.
Right.
Or he would have been able to, if he was on point, he would have been able to, shoot it out with them before they got the Dolph. You feel what I'm saying? But they say as he was returning fire, he shot one of them.
Allegedly, though.
In the driveway. Now, mind you, Dolph got killed inside the bakery, the cookie factory, or the bakery, whatever it is. Dolph got killed inside, so there's no way blood should have been outside in the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot. So if it was blood outside in the middle of the parking lot, that means one of the shooters got shot. That means 9 times out of 10, these shooters got records. They from the streets.
Like I told you guys, I was right. It's something wrong with the whole situation. It sounds like, from what he's saying, witnesses are saying he got shot inside of the place, which makes it kind of weird. It's like somebody must have knew he was going there and whatnot, and then clipped him and things like that. And this dude runs to go get his fire and shit like that. He comes out of there, he's shot, and then he ends up in the car. So whoever got hit, so like this dude, I agree that the person might more likely have some priors and whatnot. So you might find his killer might be somebody that's already got a criminal record from what this guy's saying. So that's that. So now we know after the vigil and things like that, there was another shootout. Plus, from what I'm hearing in the streets, it's been 10 shootings already in Memphis. So it's a real war in Memphis right now. And from another person, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is allegedly, they're saying the alley was blocked off and stuff like that. So it's something going down and whatnot when he got there. So I don't know if he got ambushed or not, but from what it sounds like and what this dude is describing, it's a level and layer of this man was set up. I mean, he's going there getting comfortable and got caught lacking and got caught slipping. And so I guess they said, okay, I'm going to clip him. So he's up there getting the cookies and things like that. And then he gets shot in the bakery. So I don't know if they saw who did it or because they had their face covered and things like that from what the video is. And I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yo, it's very possible they couldn't tell who did it. All you've seen is their eyes. And even at that, you can't make a positive ID just by eyes. Let's finish the rest of this, and then we'll go from there. What y'all think? So tell me if y'all think that this was a setup or that he actually literally got ambushed and whatnot, or do you think like literally it was somebody he knows? Okay, let's go to the other part.
And they have a record. And if they got a record and their DNA is already in the system,
CODIS, right?
then this case is basically almost wrapped up.
Right.
So if what witnesses is saying is true, that it was blood in the parking lot where the guys parked their car at, the shooter jumped out at. Most likely one of the shooters got shot.
I had an injury, so they either went to the hospital or they didn't.
That blood and ran tests on that blood, DNA test, and one of them shooters, whoever was bleeding, have DNA in the system. It's over for them.
That's right. But see, the thing is where it's not over, and I wanted to finish up that, and shouts out to music. There's a level and layer of like, we have to be careful with this one here, right? If they got a level and layer of the person got shot, right? And so you got some type of hit and some body shot. That means your blood drip there. That means it has to be ran into the system if they got enough blood evidence to be able to put it in there and run it through there. If the person's got priors, that means you're going to find this killer. And if they find the primary person that got shot, if that person dry snitch on the other person, it's good as they going to find out who his killers are. So they got an idea of who might have did it. So we just have to wait and see what happened. So far, that's what I'm hearing from the streets, and keep my ear low to the earth and find out what time it is. So that's that one. But as of the other day, they're still searching. Memphis PD is still searching for suspects, but they just now came and confirmed that there was blood evidence by the car where the dude got shot. So it means that he was shot in a cookie shop, and then he ends up coming out of there still like this, and he pretty much gets into the car. He just didn't make it because of all the shots, and it was like literally once he comes stumbling out of there, it's shots fired all over the place. So that's where the 50 shots is coming from. Oh, and then here's another thing. The ones that want to go and start talking and stuff like that, I seen something yesterday, right? This new dude on the rap scene wanted to sit there and accuse Soldier Boy, right? I sat there and said to myself, you got to be stupid. The Soldier Boy went in on this boy so damn bad, it was pathetic. I was like, wow. He sat there and told the boy, he said, yo, police ass. It was so funny. I was like, I didn't know what to say or do because you know how big Draco is. His ass crazy. He sat there and told that boy, he said, you ain't nothing but a police ass ninja. And it was so funny because he said, look, I'm not trying to be funny, but you can't go around here saying that you're safe in places, and you can't go around here and telling people what you finna do and what you're not finna do. So the dude, let me pull the article, y'all, because it is too much. That boy is ignorant. Let me see if I got it. It was hilarious. Because I got it on my little ticker. Child. And you know us folks, how we get into it and get to talking mess. But the thing is, he said something sideways that made the boy sit there and say something. And then he tried to make it seem like Soldier Boy was like, I ain't do that shit. And that's the way, you know how he talk. And you know he crazy as hell. So he sat there and told him, he's like, I ain't do that. Don't put that on me. And so that's what happened. So let me pull it. Child, it was funny. Not that Dolph's murder is funny. I'm telling you the way the boys responded. Let me see. I got it. You know how he feels. So. Okay. Let me see. All right. He told the boy, shut up. Let me see. Because it was something to the effect, here it is. he got into it with this new rapper who wanted to say something to him. And evidently, it was something that was said along the lines of about Young Dolph. That's what it was. Here it is. Y'all, it's a lot because I got a bunch of them on here. He got pulled from the Millennium Tour in St. Louis and Memphis because of that. And due to the beat with the late Young Dolph, and out of respect to Young Dolph and whatnot. But it's this dude, here it is. That's his name, Trouble. The dude Trouble wants to sit around here and say some stupid mess. Trouble appears to be the latest rapper Soulja Boy has been engaged with a feud with. The Atlanta rapper called out Big Draco for releasing a song following the death of Young Dolph. So the whole thing is that Trouble thought it was disrespectful that the song was released after Young Dolph passed away. And, I can understand where some people have loyalty to Young Dolph and whatnot. So Trouble tweeted, he said, I like the silly shit Soulja Boy be doing from time to time. It's entertainment. I get it. But don't be no pussy ass ninja and drop no song called Stretch Song. The next day, as if you got active in my dog losing his life, though. Boy, this is some ignorant ebonics. That's whole shit, love, bruh. And you know what's happening. You know how they talk. So this is what this boy said, right? So in this whole fool story, this fool, he gonna sit there and talk about how you gonna drop this song. That's disrespectful, little cool. He talking about he said, my dog lost his life, so what you expect me to do? And I can understand from Trouble point of view, it's like Big Draco, you couldn't wait. I mean, check the room and read the room. You release a song, but you can't help when a song gets released and stuff like that. So he wanted to sit there and say something to the fact of Soulja Boy released a song Stretch Some yesterday. It is likely to appear on his Big Draco 2 album, which arrives November 19th at midnight. So Soulja Boy got caught up in the wind of the Thug Love rapper's remarks and replied in a now deleted tweet. He says, that song been out. What you gonna do, ninja? And you sound touch as hell on the internet. Fuck you talking about. So that's what he said. You know how he talk. So in the second message, I hate repeating it like that, and I hate using that language. So he said, oh, police ass ninja. And so that's Trouble DTE. So Soulja Boy and Trouble exchanged words following Young Dolph's death. So that was there. And shouts out to Baller Alert. So y'all can check that out there. And then there was a level prior to his untimely death. Young Dolph was making headlines and issues with Soulja Boy. Some began to say side-eye Soulja Boy because now Trouble, the rapper Trouble DTE, had some things to get off his chest. So early Wednesday morning, Trouble took to Twitter to say some things to Soulja Boy, and the Atlanta rapper called out Soulja Boy for releasing his new song Stretch Some, which Trouble alleged was released, suggested Soulja had reason why the shooting occurred. However, Big Draco caught wind of the tweet and responded back and said, you old police ass ninja, and then Trouble has yet to respond to Soulja Boy. And then he said to the boy, he said, bitch ass boy, you can be next. Child. This is the vital information that y'all need. So newsflash, they up here cutting up on the So with that being said, there's Lone Boy, Soulja Boy, actually, literally, he posted under the Shade Room, y'all can check that out, that his song had already been out and had became available, presumably on streaming platforms yesterday. So he can't stop that when it's already in motion to be streamed. So that's a little bit of, what Trouble said was kind of funny, but it really wasn't funny because it's like, bruh, Cuz just died, bruh. So why would you even say that stupid stuff? Because you could have this boy inadvertently targeted. Because you know how people feel about Young Dolph. You know he got people and things like that. You know it's a big retaliation right now. They already got 10 shootings in Memphis right now. So it's a war in Memphis. So what you doing, little cuz? You sitting here telling somebody, oh, yeah, you might have something to do with it because you released a song. Like, bro, you don't sit your police behind down and making statements that ain't even true. So Soulja Boy made sure he put it out there so y'all can see the screenshot. So I'll put it up there in the community and things like that for y'all to see. And that's courtesy of the Shade Room. So shouts out to the Shade Room, Baller Alert. So you guys can check it out yourself if you want to. And then the neighborhood talk. And then it was just a whole level of back and forth. And then Soulja Boy went on IG and fired off insults towards Young Dolph. Man, dog, if you don't get your bitch ass artist out my motherfucking face, Ninja. I'm gonna say it the nice way. If you talking about Ninja, Ninja thought he was bulletproof till he got shot like Dolph. Ninja. If you talking about Ninja, ain't you the Ninja getting shot at 100 times? Ain't you Ninja getting popped and shot at all the time? Okay, so this is back and forth. So that was a level his rant referring to Young Dolph's SUV being shot at 100 times in 2017 while in Charlotte, North Carolina for a CIAA weekend. And then Dolph sustained non-life-threatening injuries during the shooting incident in Los Angeles. And then that was the same year. Then Young Dolph was also shot and killed in his hometown. He was 36 years old, and that was on November 17th. So 2 photos of these individuals have surfaced online as well. So they're looking for the 2 male suspects in the rapper's murder. And then there was a level of tone deafness in all of this because I would have thought Trouble DTE would have sat down and not said nothing and not even tried to make that kind of analogy or connection. And it might be nothing because Soulja Boy had already had it scheduled on the streams and whatnot, just like Black Youngster, his album set to release and whatnot. And then that's the other thing. Black Youngster's grandmother's house got shot up, and I think I heard that she's dead. So it's a love letter of retaliation right now. So it's a lot of stuff going on in these streets. So I think everybody needs to be careful about how y'all point the finger and try to accuse people of stuff and say stuff unless it's true. So that's that. So let's get into the boring part. The part about Kyle Rittenhouse. It's not really boring, but it's one of those type of things where we need to have a conversation. And this is not about race play. It's not about race baiting, none of that kind of stuff. But this goes into a level and layer of understanding. When you go into Kyle Rittenhouse, the acquittal, what does this truly mean for society? Where are we going from here? How do you define what's right and what's wrong? How do you judge a situation you never had or been through? Where is the nation going with this? And let's talk about it. So I'm going to pull the article about Kyle Rittenhouse and things like that on the ticker so we can get into it and get the particulars first. And then let's chat about what y'all think about this. So I did case number 2 instead of case number 1 first so that we could go and have the stuff with Young Dolph out the way and then go here to Kyle Rittenhouse. So there's a lot of Metro activists that are saddened by the verdict, but his legal troubles may not be over. So let's go into that. And, per Kyle Rittenhouse, he says, I defended myself and whatnot as he testified. So let's go over what the activists are saying. So the cradle of the civil rights movement is Atlanta. We all know that. So the verdict is not surprising. Someone added, let's walk together and shift this nation and this world. Let's talk about the levels and layers of how he ended up acquitted. So Miss Washington spoke with someone at Channel 2's Audrey Washington, the civil rights leaders who said they were disheartened by the verdict. Rittenhouse was charged with homicide, attempted homicide, and reckless endangerment for killing 2 men and wounding a third in an AR-style semi-automatic rifle in the summer of 2020 through a tumultuous night of protest over the shooting of black man Jacob Blake by a white Kenosha police officer. A jury found him not guilty on all charges on Friday. Washington spoke Friday with the former president of the NAACP, Reverend James Woodall. He spoke to Washington that he was not surprised by the verdict. Woodall said the verdict sets a precedent and shows that criminal justice system treats black defendants versus white defendants. Because had it been black, they say that he would have been underneath the jail. And then another case that highlights an urgent call for not just legal reforms, but really understand why the system is failing, why it's deficient in so many areas. So this is a teachable moment. He went on to say that people have to remember that there were 2 lives lost in the situation in the form of levels of activism and the form of levels and layers of Jacob Blake getting shot and why the shootout happened in the first place. So at this point, the state criminal saga is over. But now the question remains, will the charges at the federal level, will the charges prosecutors indict him for federal crimes that may have been committed during these acts? And that's questionable. And what else could be happens in the civil side? And asking a level layer, a guy named Channel 2's Justin Farmer asked Teston how likely would it be Rittenhouse would face trouble in a civil action taken against him and the levels and layers of the shooting deaths and the deaths and whatnot that happened for him crossing state lines, and where does the responsibility lie at? That's a good question. And the burden in civil court is much lower. So criminal court is beyond a reasonable doubt. So it means he's already been acquitted. They can't try him on the same charges. They could probably try him at a federal level on higher charges or lesser charges and whatnot. But the thing is, it would be double jeopardy to try him on the same charge. So that's the highest level of burden of proof. In a civil court, it's going to be a preponderance of the evidence and beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's that on the activism side. And you guys know I'm not an activist, but I have a parent that was in those civil rights movements and how activism can be quite dangerous and getting into these protests and levels and layers not practicing safe social distancing and levels and layers of people being able to get a hold of AR-15s, M16s, things like that. You're talking about Mossbergs, things like that are automatic rifles and really pack a lot of heat. So when we're talking about levels of regular rifles, fine. But when you're talking about semi-automatics, M16s, M15s, those are automatic rifles or levels and layers of rifles that can have modifications and magazines put on them. So when we think about those modified things, we're talking about levels and layers of the danger that it presents. So we have to ask ourselves all these questions. Where are we going from here? Where are we going in the levels and layers of equal justice? Is a white man ever going to be held to the same account as a black man? And in my personal humble opinion, I don't always think that's going to happen. It's going to take close to almost 50 years, almost 30 years before we have equal levels of justice system balancing the balance of a white man versus a black man. This shows you that if a black man did this and went across state lines, his ass would be up underneath the tree or held against the tree and a noose. We all know that. But the thing is, it's a teachable moment in a level and layer of, but we have to look at the evidence. So let's look into the trial of what Kyle Rittenhouse says. And this is from Fox 32, Chicago News. So there's a level of there was a mistrial bid and whatnot as to what was going on. He testifies he was under attack when he killed 2 men and wounded a third with his rifle during a chaotic night of protest in Kenosha. I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself. He testifies Wednesday that he was under attack when he killed 2 men and wounded a third with his rifle during a chaotic night. And he says that there's protests in Kenosha and says, I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself and defended others. The high-stakes gamble of the 18-year-old, who was at the time 17-year-old, took the stand on his murder trial to tell his side of what happened in streets in the day of the summer of the 2020, which makes him at that time 17 years old, turning 18. So he's still a juvenile and sobbing hard to the point that the judge called for a break. And then there's an account largely corroborated by video. The prosecution's own witness, Rittenhouse, said that the first man cornered him and put his hand on the barrel of his rifle. The second man hit him with a skateboard, and third man came at him with a gun of his own. So his near all-day testimony was interrupted by an angry exchange in which his lawyers demanded mistrial or what already were out-of-bounds questions asked them by the chief prosecutor. So we're going into levels and layer of what's legal questioning and what's not legal questioning and what's out of bounds in a legal court case. Then we think about the judge who, plainly mad at the prosecutor, did not immediately rule on the request and later in the day instructed the jury to expect closing arguments early the next following week. So we're into the next following week where we get the verdict. Rittenhouse is on trial over the shootings he committed during the unrest erupted in Kenosha and the wounding Jacob Blake, a black man, by a white Kenosha police officer. He could get life in prison on the charges. Rittenhouse was also 17 at the time when went to Kenosha with an AR-15 semi-automatic weapon in a medic bag, and what the former police cadet said is an effort to protect property after rioters had set fires, ransacked businesses on previous nights. So they had already been dealing with a buildup of what, just like Youngstas stuff. A level and layer of retaliation and arguments and fights and activism and protests and whatnot. So it leads to the context of protests getting out of hand and becoming unmanageable and police being outnumbered by protesters and level of violence and whatnot. So he drives over there and he has an automatic rifle. Now, was that right? I couldn't tell you. Would I tell you that it's right or wrong? It depends on the person and depends on the involvement and the linkage to the situation. And in an effort to protect his property. So we have to understand where the property lays at and where the state line is at and where he was driven to. So it's possible that he could have stepped over in the state line. It's just kind of like when you have Virginia, you have Wisconsin, you have levels and layers of the DMV and things like that. You've got the state lines, and you've got like Georgia, Tennessee, and you've got Arkansas, and you've got Texas, and you've got all these state lines, right? So you think about Louisiana state line, we think about all these places up there in Kenosha where he's at. So we're talking about you could go and bend over, your head's in one state line, and then you're over here in the other state line. So the minute you step over that state line, your jurisdiction changed. So the case divided Americans over whether Rittenhouse was a patriot standing against lawlessness or vigilantism, or he began crying on the stand and appeared to be unable to speak. And Wendy Rittenhouse, seated on the bench across the room, sobbed loudly. Someone put an arm around her. After the judge called for recess, jurors walked by Rittenhouse, looked at it, and continued to cry. And so it seems like that there's a level and layer of Rittenhouse said he didn't want to have to shoot Joseph Rosenbaum, the first man to fall that night. And he said Rosenbaum was chasing him and threatened to kill him earlier. So that's kind of like a situation that I had where neighbors threatened to kill me, harm me, but I go and defend myself and I say, you know what, you're not going to put your hands on me, you're not going to harm me. So if I do something in self-defense, I have a right to defend myself. So that's like an example of what happened to me in what was it, 2020 and whatnot. And my neighbors decided they wanted to provoke and gaslight, terrorize me, and threaten to kill me, harm me, and things like that. And my neighbor's grandson said, I'll kill you, bitch, I'll kill you. So then I say, no, you're not. And I go and try to protect myself and things like that. But I'm the one who got detained. They said, well, you don't need to be detained. They're the ones who need to be detained. And they need to be here locked up because you didn't do anything wrong. So there's a level and layer of self-defense. So in Rittenhouse situation, you can look at it two different ways. Is he wrong for going across state lines? Yeah, but if his property is right at the state line, and it's possible that he could have drove over to the straight line, just right over, hop, skipping over there, and he's worried about his property being damaged, then he has a right for eminent domain and a level of stand your ground. It just depends on his state rules and regulations. So we're looking at two different things and scenarios here. And see, the thing is, when somebody is threatening your life, you automatically have a level and layer of try to walk away if they continue to do what they did. Just like my neighbor's grandson came around to my yard, to my area where I stay at. I didn't go to his yard. So them calling their family and telling lies to police is why I ended up detained. But then they released me because they were like, you didn't do anything wrong. They should be here. And he should be in jail. I said, oh, you think? So it's the same thing with Rittenhouse where he's saying, I'm defending myself. It's a big difference between going somewhere and doing something. Just want to look at the actual chat. Hi, I'm going to talk to you in just a minute. You can come on. I'm going to do just to finish up this vital information, and then we can do a talk, and we can do an after show talk. Just one moment. It's not someone that came late. Just one moment so I can respond, you guys. Okay, so back to what we were saying. So when we talk about a level and layer of what was going on and whatnot, so we're talking about a level and layer of Kyle Rittenhouse, right? So in the situation, let's go back into the story so we can finish it up. Someone says, okay, Kyle Rittenhouse would have gotten life if he was black. So I'm not quite so sure I agree with that. I kind of look at it like this. Where are we going with all this? Because what I don't want to do is get into race bait and race play. What I want us to do is get into a level and layer of understanding how this went down and where a level and layer of how things are. And I want you guys to understand where it's important. We have to get into a space of understanding where he was thinking and what was going on and the levels and layers of how far it went. So in the story, in short, is a level and layer of he says, I defended myself, and then they go into a level and layer of two sides of the story here. So let's break it down on this part. And this is where we have to be a little bit more wiser in what we're doing. Hey.
Hey, you're right.
Hello. Let me put my thing in my ear.
Okay.
Hey, tell me what you think about the Rittenhouse situation.
You know what?
I can't
It's
hear you.
crazy. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hold on.
Speak up.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, that whole case is so crazy, man.
What do you think? Like, so far, what do you think?
Is he guilty at the moment or not?
No, he's been acquitted. So Rittenhouse has been acquitted, okay? So we did two different cases. So this is vital information, this show that I do for talk radio. So I went over the young Dolph situation, and so you missed that part. And then here's the situation with Kyle Rittenhouse. So we're on case number 1 that I actually did second instead of the young Dolph that went first. So what do you think of both situations? First, tell me what you think about Rittenhouse and the situation so far, and with him being acquitted. What do you think this means for America?
It's definitely some sort of prejudice there because I did overhear what you says when you talk about if this is a black man, they would have treated the whole thing differently, and I don't understand, but that's some conspiracy shit going on there. Did this happen where you live?
So what? No, this is Kenosha. This is up there in the Midwest.
Okay, yeah. The whole thing is very confusing to me. I don't understand. Like,
well, it's like okay.
How the hell is he acquitted?
I mean, we all know that. So it's kind of like I don't want a conspiracy theory here. I'm going by the facts here. So I got my ticker. So I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the article, and I'm like, what the deuce? Like if it would have been somebody like me, my black ass would be hung up a train.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because and you know I'm also mixed race, but I identify as black. I look black. You ain't gonna know if I'm white and stuff like that. So
honestly,
it's a level layer of that.
I don't know. I seen the part when he was crying in the court case. Did you see that?
Yeah, and see, I want to refrain from laughing. It's not funny.
Is he a sociopath?
It's really. And to be honest, I feel like them tears was some bullshit. I really, I mean, straight up, Rudy Poo, bitch ass.
By the way, what happened? I really wanted to talk to you about codependency, and then it just went off.
Yeah, well, because see, here's the thing. I waited long enough, but I was like, hey, I'm still trying to get you on here. So I don't know what the delay was, so I finished it up. So I was like, I'm not going to. It depends on what you call late, because see, I keep business hours. Business hours for me are around the clock.
It's 8:30 in the morning, yeah, so I'm literally just getting up.
Okay, so but we're 6 hours difference. So for you, it's like you're 6 hours ahead. So we're talking about it's 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning for you.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 o'clock. Oh
yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, so it's like 3 a.m. Yeah, so basically it's nighttime, twilight for me. But these are business hours for me, so I keep doctor's hours anyway. So with this is what we're on for right now. But we're going to go into the conversation because we're going to do the after show into this
court case, right? It's just it doesn't make any sense to me. Like we live in a time where trust and believing things You know, we're living in a very, very deceptive time where everything's full of
Yeah, we're
deception.
living in a time where we could talk about this, and actually we can make this a good live and understanding, because we could take the example of Kyle Rittenhouse and the Dolph situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's do it like that. Think about
Talking.
this with
Yeah.
Kyle, with putting in context of Kyle Rittenhouse. He's your typical white guy. Okay. He is a white teenager, 17 years old at the time this happened, right? So we have to think mom drives him across state lines. If the state lines are close like this, jurisdiction changes the minute you drive over the state line. So that could mean it could be across the street from where he
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
So you understand the riots were right by where he lives. So we're getting into a level layer of, is mom at fault for driving his behind across the street, across the pond? So if I bent over here, you're looking at, I'm over here in this state, and over here, my other part of my body's in this state. So if I cross the state line, I'm out of jurisdiction. But the thing is, if the jurisdiction line is like this, how do you discern whether that is, I'm fending for my life, but I took my ass over here? But the thing is, they're right here quick enough that they could burn down my shit if they go over one step too far. So do you understand where this becomes a level layer of, we have to be careful of the narrative that's being painted, because he might really literally have defended himself and eminent domain. It depends on the
Yeah.
state and federal. Because if the federal is going to pick it up, he can be charged on a different charge. But if the state doesn't, he's been acquitted on state level. His double jeopardy, you can't try him on the same charges. So do you understand?
I was going to ask you, does each state have its own law?
Yeah, it does. And that's where you're getting into a sticky situation here. Because if you think about law, if my neighbor provoked me, right? And I've had this experience, right? Kenyatta goes and threatens me and says, bitch, I'll kill you, I'll kick your ass. And her grandson says, bitch, I'll kill you, I'll kick your ass. He comes around to where my yard's at. I'm not going to his yard, but they call the cops. I get detained, but the cops say, why the hell are we out here detaining you? After I
Yeah.
talk to the person and they say, you shouldn't be detained, he should. He threatened your life. Why didn't the cops detain him, Dante, her grandson? Why didn't they detain her? Because she sat here and told lies and false witness.
Yeah, like
So
using the
when
same
we go,
example, if my neighbour was threatening me and I got to my
Mhm.
house and hit him, although he threatened me, that's still assault. You know what I mean?
it's assault depending if you go to the point of hitting someone. But Kyle
Yeah.
Rittenhouse is in that same situation, but he's defending his domain. So I'm in my yard, but you're coming over here talking about, come fight me, bitch, and being kung fu grandma. But then when you go realize that you might go to jail, you call
Like,
cops because the cops have told you to call cops
yeah,
and whatnot.
here we've got something called a legal triangle. And what the legal triangle is, right, is if you feel that your aggressor has intent, means, and
To harm and
opportunity.
hurt.
Yeah, so intent means if he's within range, if he's shouting and swearing at me, right, until he's gonna kill me and whatnot, that's intent. Now,
That's what Dante did.
means is basically if he's got a weapon or some sort of tool that's gonna cause me harm.
Mhm.
And then there's opportunity. How close is he to hurt me? Because he could be across the street shouting, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch," blah blah blah. But because he's
Right,
not
but
within
that's like the neighbor
proximity,
across the street that was doing
yeah.
all this, I'll kick your ass, bitch,
So
and come out in the street, fight me, bitch stuff.
if your aggressor ticks all those three boxes, you can actually get him popped. You can actually get him. You can actually act in like self-defense and get yourself
And that's
saved.
what I know here, because that's what they did to me from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3:21 before I got detained. And then the people said, we want to let you go home, but we're afraid that you're going to get hurt because of what they're doing and provoking and gaslighting. And this is the same thing. You can go follow me here with Kyle Rittenhouse. They're threatening to whoop his ass, and they touch the butt of his rifle. So where it exchanges a level layer of, he has rights to protect himself, you touch the butt of his rifle. You see a man with a rifle, don't you think you would run?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
see someone with a level layer of weapon, don't you think you would stop charging at someone?
No, exactly. And the police will say like you have a duty to retreat as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and see, that's what happened with me. I actually tried to retreat. He kept coming near me, and the
But
neighbor,
sometimes
Dante.
our egos, like I know
Mhm.
the police and whatnot are listening, and I know we have to be good Samaritans and obey the law. But sometimes our
Mhm.
egos don't allow us to obey the law. Like I'm a man, and
But I
although
stayed
like
in my
we're
yard.
taught not to like fight over words, if I felt disrespected, I think I might use force, which again, it's not very moral to do that.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
depending on what those words are.
Because I tried to walk away, but when he says, I'm going to kill you, bitch, I'll kill you, I can get out, and I've already got a diagnosis, I can kill you and get out and murder you, bitch.
Wow.
So, do you understand where I'm like, oh, hold up, bitch, you got me fucked up. Excuse me.
Was you
Excuse the
scared
language.
when he said that?
I literally was, because he threatened to kill me and he threatened to murder me, and his grandmother is the one who started the
Sometimes
shit.
people
And then he
bluff,
came.
but if you
No,
don't
well,
know
he
the
walked
person
around.
is, yeah,
He
if you don't know the
walked
person
around from her yard to my yard and was right at my yard. So when I get something to say, okay, you think you're gonna f me up today? I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna learn today. Damn it! Come in my yard if you want to. You're gonna be carried up out this yard. So they gonna call the cops and have their family over there. But the cop that came out when the first call was made and whatnot, when I told them what was going on, and then the same nasty cop that doesn't like me, Officer 54, the same one that sat there and assumed I rent. She's a racist little.
No, you know what? You know the police where you are. They're more corrupted than the police here.
They are.
They are.
They really are. Because I told you the situation, how it has more from my ex's and mother who works for DCNF, and she's able to tell me something that happened in 2013. How do you know, ma'am?
And guess
About
what they're
something
doing?
that happened because of your
Guess what
son.
they're doing in America? They're getting black people to join the police force to kind of negate the racism that the police are accountable for.
Well, you have to have. Well, no, I would say it's more or less they have to do affirmative action. So you have to have enough black people on your force, and this is where we have to look at the balance of
No, but the
policing
thing
and
is,
whatnot.
it's one big corporation though. They're all in it together.
We understand that, but we understand that our police is a business. We know that policing is for our safety. We understand that, but we have to have better policing.
Like
So that's the
Fox
better.
News. You see the Fox,
Mhm.
you know Fox News, right?
Yeah, Fox News. I've watched it
I
before.
heard once there was like a black killing. I think it was a George Floyd case, and they
Mhm.
actually got a black person to actually present the whole case. You know,
Right, and see, we have to look at those scenarios and
what's the
whatnot.
guy's name? He owns Fox News.
You're talking about the levels and layers of it's. Hold on. You're not. You talking about CNN? You mean Don
No,
Lemon?
no, no. Fox News. Fox News. The guy that owns it. It's a white guy.
Oh, you're. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the older white guy that
Yeah.
owns Fox News.
Yeah. What's his name? I forgot his
Honey, I
name.
forgot.
It's Fox
He's a
News.
rich white guy.
Yeah, it's Fox News
Here, I got it. Let's hold on. Let me Google it because I know what his name is. He's actually been around for a long time in media. Okay, that's the owner. I remember it. It's on the tip of my tongue, bruh. Here it is. I remember him because he's an older white guy and he's been around for a long time. And he's a pretty cool dude, but that's for entertainment. I really don't take Fox News as serious because I consider it satire. And it's just like MSNBC. You got to watch what news that you most identify with,
Do you have
right?
BBC there? BBC.
Yeah, we have BBC, but we don't see it. You have to pay for it. Here it is. The news owner used to be a level and layer of Murdoch, the Murdoch family. That's the guy that owns Fox News. He's a cool dude. But the thing is, we know that's his name, Rupert Murdoch. Cool dude. But the thing is, he's an older white dude, and he identifies with his base. And the same thing with the levels and layers of the news media. I like Fox News, but they've got to bring more African American views on it to balance it out. Because I think what happened with Fox News is kind of like the levels and layers if it's one sided. So when we talk about news and media, I went and did journalism in high school and the yearbook, and what I was taught by an old Italian white guy, cool guy, love him to pieces, right? He's my favorite guy. He said, Nix, he said, one thing you've got to do in media is you got to present the facts, keep your opinion out of it, and make sure you present the news. After that, you can present what your opinion is, but say it's not indicative of the news channel. So when you think about these news channel people who do the news, sometimes they get so overzealous, but their opinion gets in the way of their news brief. So when we think about Fox News or we think about anything like MSNBC, CNN, we think about levels and layers of be careful. Present the news and the facts first before you present your humble opinion. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I look at Fox News, I see it as satire. We get some of your great goofy ones next door that like to go and sensationalize things, but sometimes they go too far in
Like,
satire.
Cece, have you had your vaccine?
Yeah, I already taken my test and everything. I'm good. I'm COVID free.
Oh, so you've taken your COVID vaccine?
I take my test and everything. I don't have COVID.
No. The vaccine. Have you had your vaccine?
Yeah, they said I didn't need it because I literally have built the antibodies. I don't have to need it.
Oh, because yeah, they're literally blackmailing people to get the vaccine. They're like before
No.
they never ever did this with any vaccine before, which is quite shifty and
But
shady.
we have to understand, COVID actually came out of nowhere. We don't know where it came from. And then on top of that, there's a level layer. That's another thing. When newscasters want to put their opinion about COVID, but they need to be careful of that because at the end of the day, this is a new disease. This is just like when they had syphilis back in the 50s and 60s, when they didn't know what they were going to do and they had to actually get a level of inoculation and have testing on this virus that came out of nowhere. So when you think about viruses, you think about levels and layers of we didn't have any type of level and layer of a vaccine for it. It had to
Yeah,
be tested. So what do you think happened? The same thing that happened in the 60s when you had Tuskegee, where you have people who actually literally had to be the guinea pig for a level and layer of a virus that came out of nowhere. So when we think about the Tuskegee experiment and we think about levels and layers of COVID, it's just like history repeats itself, but we're in digital time. So we have to be careful of the narrative that gets put out there about COVID. COVID can kill you. The next one might be a whole level of
yeah,
apocalypse.
and plus this virus keeps mutating as well. So
Exactly. So
one thing
you
I want to ask
understand.
you, I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent here. This Melon
Mhm.
app is a lot better than StreamYard.
Well, I actually like both of them. I just think that I like this one because it allows me to do a little bit more. And the thing is, but I actually like the other one a little bit better. And I
No,
would tell you
because
in
no
business,
one I look better on this one. I don't know what it is, and it's just it's very easy to use, very simple to use the background and
it is. And that's what I noticed. And once you upgrade, I'll tell you why I really like this one. You can do a lot more with the Stream Labs, and that's the actually one that produces it. So when we have a level layer of being able to do donations, it can do on the back end, and you can
yeah.
see it, and you can do all these different
I
things with
can't see
it.
my name though. I don't put
Oh
CC.
well, that's because I have to put it in there when I have a guest and things like that. I can edit it for you,
No, but no,
or
because I put CC's out of studio, but I can't see it on the screen.
let me move this actual screw, this thing right here. It's a lot.
Oh, but did you design all this red stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. You're so clever, man.
Mm-hmm. Because I used to design websites for a living, and I
So that
also used to build all this kind of things, PHP
it was
coding and all
just talk
that.
deeper. Because are you going to do a separate stream to talk about codependency?
Yeah, because I'm gonna get off of here and do this one, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on this, and you're
Yeah,
gonna
you know,
come live
because I
again.
was literally meant to meet my mate in an hour this time early, but I'm not going to meet him because I need to fight this codependency I have.
Okay, so we're gonna do a coaching. So we're gonna do a live coaching in just a minute. So
All right.
let me finish this out and whatnot. But tell me what you think about the young Dolph situation, and then we're gonna
Uh,
close this live out, and then I'll restart it.
to be honest, you know, they haven't really spoke about that one here much. Um, I don't, that's what I was going to ask you. Was that mostly like like a local news thing?
What do you mean? Which one? You're talking about the young Dolph? That's Memphis.
Yeah.
So there's like literally a war in Memphis because he's been killed. He's a rapper and things like that. And evidently,
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yes, that's really shocking. When I heard the news,
it is.
so basically someone break into his house and that.
He went to a cookie shop and went to go get some cookies from Makita's cookie shop, and he was ambushed. And from what I'm gathering, he was actually shot in the shop. Came out of there, stumbling out of there, and
I
they
was going
lit
to
him
ask you
up.
that, CC. You know, with a lot of rappers, have you noticed? I don't want to say a lot, but have you noticed? Okay, it is a lot. Have you noticed a lot of rappers get killed by homicide?
Because a lot of it is they won't let go of their friendships with people who are still kind of out there.
Like if you look at all the rappers, Pop Smoke, Triple X, all these new rappers, they're all being shot dead.
Yeah, yeah, to Extentation and all the other different rappers. Because a lot of the rappers don't realize you have to have security nowadays.
And are
You
the
have to have
gangsters? A lot of these
paid.
rappers are they actually real gangsters before they
I
get into
wouldn't
music?
say all of that. I would say allegedly. Allegedly, they may have ties with different people. So I wouldn't want to speak for them, and I don't know. So I would say that maybe their past is catching up to them when they get to becoming famous, and it's a level and layer of how do I separate myself from my homies and the people I used to kick it with. So you
Oh yeah, 'cause people
understand the
get
levels.
jealous. It could be
Yeah,
anything,
yeah,
jealousy or
yeah. Jealousy, hate, envy, lust, greed. All the things that can cause somebody. Hi, how are you? Ripped off, yeah. I will tell you guys, it's a level layer of rappers tend to have a level layer of possibility of getting into a situation where their homeboy might have beef or they might have a level layer of something's going on. So they feel like they got to take up their homeboy's situation. So whatever their homeboy got going on, they still feel a level layer of, yo, I got to still kick flag to this person. Yo, you're not going to do this. Beat, beat, beat. And then it goes back and forth, back and forth. Then you're like, cut, 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 cut. Then they're gone. So it's a level and layer of you got to get out the streets or whatever you got going on and change your circle. And I'm an OG at this. I'm a whole older lady. I've been around a lot of people and my homeboys and things like that. So I know how to get down. So at the end of the day, you as you go up the echelon in life, you got to be willing to change your circle because sometimes your homeboys mess will get you killed, or
No,
it
no,
could
no,
be a
no.
level layer.
Yeah, the street
Mhm.
life, especially if you need to try to slowly break your way from the street life because you'll definitely make you end up in the wrong place.
I will tell you, you would backpedal and pussy pop and cartwheel and separate from the people who be out there. It doesn't mean that you act like you don't know them, but it's a level layer, like OG Project Pat said. He said, at some point, if somebody tell you not to go back someplace, don't come back.
No, it's
You
true.
understand
Like
what I'm
they
saying?
always say, if you give out a certain energy out there, it will definitely come back tenfold.
It's the law
Always.
of attraction. It's a
Yes.
level layer of, okay, if I feel like I'm untouchable, I feel like I can go anywhere without no security. Say I become a celebrity, right? Don't you think I'm going to have to pay for security? Don't you think I'm going to have somebody at the compound? Don't you
No, no,
think
you're
I'm
right.
always have
Like
to have
there's
somebody
this
around?
local rapper literally lives in my area, right?
Hmm.
He's only just hit fame now.
Hmm.
But before you would see him walking on the streets like a normal person.
He
But
can't do that.
he can't do that anymore now.
No, because you're a primary target for somebody jealous hearted, hateful, or wants what you got. So what you think is you're worth more dead than alive. So at this point, the higher the echelon you get, the more worth you're dead than
So
alive.
now he's hired
Don't you think?
someone. He's actually hired
Mhm.
a big bouncer guy to protect
That's what
him.
you're supposed to do. Because at this point, whether you're a rapper, whether you're a celebrity, I would think you would be smart enough to say, I got to pay security personnel, somebody, Department of Defense, ex military, somebody that's going to be my eyes and ears. So when I don't see it coming, they say, get down, push me down. I'll get down on the ground and crawl and do what I got to do. Because at the end of the day, if I'm your security and I'm sitting right next in front of you and I see something, I tell you, boom, get down, I push your ass down. You're not going to fight me. You're going to trust that I told you, get your ass
So this
down
is
because
so these
somebody's
security
like that.
guards are they
Mhm.
literally are they literally willing to put their life on the line?
That's what you sign up for when you become military personnel, or you become a off-duty personnel, or what we call grounds personnel, or a elite personnel officer. I will tell you this because I worked in security. And when you're talking about levels and layers of security and grounds work and things like that, yes, I've scaled walls. So this was when I
You
was
worked in
younger.
security. That must have been a very dangerous job, very high pressure job.
It's a high pressure job, but you know what you're signing up for when you become security and grounds personnel. You know when you become a bodyguard or you become a grounds personnel and you have to walk the grounds, you know there's a potential that you can get ambushed. I worked from like 5 to 3 o'clock in the morning and sometimes 3 to 11. It depended on what place I was guarding and or if I had to guard dead bodies and things like that. You know, all the different assignments that I had. So the levels and layers of dealing with this and being a level layer of somebody's eyes and ears is what you don't see. I see what I was taught to look for. You don't see. So if somebody's around here coming around here with a tech or a nine or something like that, or it's got a big Draco or a Mossberg, I'm supposed to be able to tell you get down, push you down, and then get on top of you and start busting back
Oh,
because I know that's what I'm supposed
so
to do.
obviously you get the training to read like pre-contact cues, what to see, what not to see. But if someone's
Yeah,
walking towards you with a hand in their pocket, then you kind of know that's a bit
yeah.
dodgy.
Then you know to stop them and say, hey, what's up? What's going on? I need to see your ID.
Or
Things
someone
like
that's wearing
that.
a big trench coat in the summer.
Yeah, or something like that, or a level and layer of something that looks abnormal. We were taught to look at guns. No, let's see one. If we see it, then tell somebody, yo, there's gun, and make it a citizen's arrest or things like that. Or if you have what we call armored service officers and things like that, when you have a level and layer of a pistol, 40 Glock, whatever, or 38 special, or 22, whatever, or 45, you have to make sure that you're ready and you get it out and you got to do what you got to do. You ask questions later, but you tell them, hey, look, stop for a second, stop, I'll shoot, stop, I'll shoot. And then after that, it's like, it's done. So it's a wrap because I told you to stop. So it's a level and layer, the same thing like the police have to do when they have to do their job. And it's just like, well, let's go back to Kyle Rittenhouse. If Kyle is not the police, but he's actually in eminent domain and you're in two different states, but you step over to this part and he feels like he's in fear of his life, his family's in fear of their life, then what's going to happen? So same thing with young Dolph, when he's in the opposite scenario of his life has been in danger multiple times. He's been shot at 100 times in another state before. He's also been shot at another time. So he also had non-life threatening wounds. So it means it was bound to happen in his case. It does not mean that it was a hit or nothing like that. It means it's a potential that you had enough people that wanted to kill your ass anyway, because you had enough beef with enough people. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a level and layer of, we can't say, oh, it's industry. People want a conspiracy theory. Industry got shit to do with that.
I completely understand what you're trying to say. And although I don't want to say that he's accountable for what he did, to an extent he maybe was, but there's no guarantees.
What do you mean?
Like you just says that every single, especially celebrity and rapper has a responsibility to ensure that their safety should be their priority.
Yeah, their safety should be their priority instead of wanting to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I'm from Tennessee, right? Or if I'm from New York, or I'm from LA, these are huge density populations, right? So we know that you're in a little bit more danger because there's more crowds and shit like that. So why would you go anywhere without your security or having aerial levels of security or some type of level layer? If you're going to go in a dense population and have a lot of people around you, you should have security everywhere, from here at the top, the buildings everywhere, or wherever you're planning on going, or you should be able to check in.
I think it comes down to the matter of ego. A lot of these people,
their ego will get them killed.
Exactly.
Because you need to be able to look at your advance money, everything you're advanced, no matter what deal you have, because I don't like talking about deals and things like that. I believe that's a no-no. I don't believe in talking about contracts. But as a business person on the outside looking in, I'm a woman. I'm thinking like a man. If I'm a celebrity, I expect to have personnel. I expect to have house guards. I expect to have property guards.
So these top rappers have, like Drake and stuff, they have high level security, would you say?
I don't know about Drake's levels and layouts, and I wouldn't confirm or deny what his layout is because I would never want to put him in danger like that. So whatever I assume what Drake would have would be security personnel. He would need that at all points in times. He is a high-profile celebrity. So that means
I know like Biden and that, their security is high. They have to be high.
Yeah, so you have to have a high level of security when you're at the Drake level, President Biden level, Kamala Harris's level, because you don't know who is your enemy. You never know who is sitting in front of you willing to kill you. So at the end of the day, you're only as good as your security at that. So when we think like you're saying, Drake, you're thinking about a level and layer of a high profile celebrity. He's been around for a long time, but he's becoming more incredible in his star power. So what's going to happen? Drake knows that he has to up his security. He has to have a level and layer. I assume if he has any, I don't know, and I would not want to speak for him. But there's a level and layer of, I would think that he would always have security no matter what, plain clothes and regular.
No, but the thing is, it's logic, because even if you look at like from a religious perspective, if you look at Christianity, even Jesus had his disciples to protect him.
That's right. So
Islam, Muhammad. I'm pretty sure Muhammad, he had his companion to protect him.
Right, and I think Drake's Jewish, and it doesn't matter about religion. Religion is 6 degrees separated, but at the end of the day, no matter what, he's Jewish. He still needs protection, and no matter what, if I was Islamic, if I was Jewish or Jewish descent, it doesn't matter as long as there's adequate protection, because every man, every woman deserves protection.
It's just like to be honest, any other man. Yeah, I walk around. I'm not celebrity famous, but everybody is vulnerable. Especially when it comes to asocial violence, when it comes to shooting, stabbings, we're all vulnerable.
Yeah, when it comes to shooting, stabbings, and things like that, we're all vulnerable. I went through things that a celebrity went through in my own situation. And I literally had to protect myself because I don't have the same access to the resources that they do.
It's understandable because you are connected to like celebrities and stuff. You're kind of exposed to that.
I'm connected. Yeah, I'm exposed to that because of relation to celebrities and a level and layer of my situation, because I dated people who are celebrities' sons and daughters. So I haven't dated women, but there's a level and layer of the daughters of celebrities had children. So therefore, if I dated their son.
Women, you said?
No, I haven't dated women, but have I dipped my toe in the lady pond? Of course. I didn't like it.
I was going to say you dated women. I was like, okay, that's some kinky shit.
And I got a business called Kinky Do Your Toys. So, but I have no shame, so I'll tell people because people will tell my business anyway. So yes, I did my toe in the lady pond.
Like I was reading an interesting article. Most asocial violence, killings, shootings, stabbings, rapes, murders, is mostly perpetrated by an antisocial personality type, like a narcissist,
Yes, it
sociopath,
is.
psychopath.
It's normally done by a
Like last year here
sociopath,
in my
psychopath, psychopath.
city, there's a black guy going around randomly just stabbing people for no reason, killing them.
Because he's a psychopath. Nobody goes around stabbing people for
And
fun.
now he's got caught. And now guess what? They've mitigated the charges, and they put him in a mental house. They put him in a mental house.
Yeah, because you've got to be mentally deranged and not too wrapped too tight. If you're around here
The
stabbing
thing is,
people,
it's
just
stupid because within 10 years he'll be roaming the streets again.
yeah, but see, that's only if he's considered highly armed and dangerous, and at the point that he is dangerous to the point that he's dangerous to himself and the public, then he would be 51, 50, 52, 50, 53, 50,
Yes.
which means indefinite committal.
Yes.
So in that case, he probably needs to be indefinite committed to a psychiatric ward if he's going to show a potential for danger. If he does it again, then he would be committed indefinitely. So do you understand the difference?
It's true. Most asocial violence, like killing, murders, stabbings, rapes, it's mostly done by a psychopath. Antisocial.
Take for instance, young Dolph's murderer. That person didn't give a damn. They wanted him dead. So think about this. This person goes up to you, shoots you dead in a place, stalks where you go, and knows where you're at. That means that person watched you for a minute, knows exactly where you go at, and you got comfortable and you were caught slacking or lacking.
Yeah, this is how you know that you're dealing with like a psychopath. Because the person that killed him, or the people that killed us, I literally have little to no empathy, or no empathy at all.
They have no regard for human life.
Because they'll literally walk around the next day like nothing happened. Or maybe they celebrate. We did it. You know.
Yeah, they'll actually tell themselves because they're so narcissistic and have Dunning-Kruger effect. And this is where, yeah, I did it. This is what they will do. A narcissist will go around telling everybody that they had killed young Dolph and then turn around and sit there and brag about it. So we're going to find out.
Is a sociopath the worst one?
Of course, a sociopath is the worst one because they have no conscience.
Is it called?
Well, actually, no. I'll backtrack this. A
Machiavellianism?
psychopath is worse because a sociopath is derivative of a psychopath.
Okay.
Both of them are neck and neck.
Is it Machiavellianism?
It's called a Machiavellian narc.
What the hell is that?
Okay, a Machiavellian narc is a sneaky narc that can actually fake everything and literally come back. It's kind of like
the crafty ones.
They're crafty ones that can literally be like a ghost and apparition and clip you and then turn around and ghost again, and you wouldn't know that they did it. That's the best. Remember,
funny? I understand.
it's funny. It's funny.
The thing is, these narcs. The mask is so real, isn't it?
No, the mask really is real because at the end of the day, anybody can be a Machiavellian narc if they learn how to be.
No, because the thing is, look, you're a very smart lady, but even you've been sucked in by a narc, which is scary.
What do you mean?
Like, anybody is vulnerable to a narc, right?
Anybody can be vulnerable to a sociopath and narc if they're the target.
Someone says, "Oh, narcs only go for empaths." No, narcs go for other narcs as well. It's rare. But
yes, they do. And let me tell you, that is the War of the Roses. It's kind of like a situation of when you think about young Dolph. I don't think he was a narc, but I think that he can literally go to a level of narcissistic traits, which is where his ego got him killed. So do you understand where this goes into a level layer of he's not a narcissist, he's not a psychopath, sociopath, but he may have narcissistic traits as his ego got more inflamed as a rapper.
There's another rapper. Is his name Da Baby? That's going through that shit at the moment. Is he a narc?
The Baby. So we're talking about Danny Lay, like we did the vital information about Danny Lay and The Baby. I think The Baby knows how to gaslight. Do I think The Baby suffers from narcissism? Of course. You can tell. But it doesn't, he's got little man's complex is more what it is. He's got more of a Napoleon complex than being narcissistic. Does he have narcissistic traits from his fame? Yes. That doesn't mean that he's a narc. I would have to do a psychosocial eval on him and sit and talk to him and listen to him for a couple of hours, just kind of like I talk to you. And a narc can actually fool a therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist. So you have to literally watch them in several scenarios.
I was talking to my brother the other day. Crafty people don't like other crafty people because it's no fun to them. They can't extrapolate information. So they'll go. It's
kind of like, remember when you told me about the interview with the guy that you were talking to, your sister's man, and how he is? He's a whole narc. The way you described him, he's a narc through and through.
He's very quiet. He wants to know all your information.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. The quietest in the room is the sneakiest in the room, and sometimes the quietest in the room is the
Covert,
smartest in
isn't
the
it?
room.
Covert,
hmm
covert.
hmm Because there's a difference between an empath being quiet because the reason why they're quiet is because they don't like something and their feelings
You
something's
know how
not
people
right.
say, "Oh, although it can be natural." Sometimes people be quiet out of choice.
Yeah, like I am. I'm actually selective mute. It's my autism that does that.
This
So
is
I
why I
don't
don't
mean to
like
be.
people because, like, when you're around someone and they're around a quiet person, that person's listening to everything you say and literally studying you like a narc does.
But the thing is, if you're not narcissistic, like I'm not narcissistic, I'm not sociopathic. But the thing is, I can pick up on what you're saying and doing. And like the people told me, you're like the human lie detector test. You can pick out a narc or a covert narc and an
No,
overt
no.
narc.
Guess what people? Guess what some people believe? If a narc
hmm
walks into a room, they can sniff out empath.
Yeah, they can
What
because that narc,
they can feel the energy.
it's because your light beams off of you. So like, okay, I'm an empath. A lot of people say you have a glow. That's my inner light. So when I go into a room and I walk into the room, people gravitate towards me, right? But for me, I don't gravitate towards people because I need to know my surroundings. I was taught that to have boundaries because being a social butterfly,
So
it can
you're,
get you in trouble.
did you say you're a super empath or heyoka?
Mhm. A super empath and what they call alpha empath, meaning that I can mirror alpha traits and whatnot.
Do you know what I want to
But
be? I want to be a narcissist. So I
oh,
literally,
so you want to be the one that pays back an art?
yeah, no, basically, their game backfires. Like I literally clock on its again. So once you find out they're a narcissist, that's when they're like, "Fucking hell, I'm gone."
So you literally want to play the Wizard of Oz with narcs?
Yeah, can it happen? Is that all right?
It's very possible because that's what we're going to talk about. So what we're going to do, I'm going to disconnect on this one. We're going to finish up this vital
Yeah, no,
information,
because
and then we're going to go.
I
Are
need to
you
tell my
capable
cousin
of coming
something.
live with me, or do you want to finish it up through here?
No, 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 no. You finish the live, and then I'll go back on your page, and we'll go to another stream.
Okay, so you're going to come back on the stream, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to give
So
me everybody like 2 minutes because I'm
all
about
right,
to change
all
everything
right.
out.
I'll see you in a second. I'll leave this, and you can finish it off.
You better.
No, I am. Oh, I promise.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, and then we're gonna do the end stream, and then I'll come back in, and then we're gonna do the level and layers of the regular talk radio session, and we're gonna do an after show.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So everybody, we're gonna finish up on this Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, and we're gonna finish up with the young doll. So we're gonna recap everything since I had a guest on here. There's a level and layer of what do you think is going to happen? What are we going to do in today's society with Kyle Rittenhouse and the situation? As my guest and I talked about it, what do you guys think about this? What do you think is going to happen in society and the levels and layers of how do you protect eminent domain? Do you have a right to defend and stand your ground? Do you have a right to be able to say to yourself, I am defending myself and I'm defending the safety and sovereignty of the place that I live at? Then we're going to go into a level and layer of what do you guys think of what happened with the levels and layers of young Dolph. And he doesn't deserve to die. He didn't deserve what happened to him. But there's a level and layer of we have to be more safer out here. And the more higher you go up in success, the more you have to protect yourself, protect your energy, and protect yourself as in the level and layer of your safety and your surroundings. Know your circles, keep the squares out your circle, and be very careful. And Matt Drake, again, yes, thank you. Rip Dolph, there's a level and layer of rip to him because he didn't deserve to die. He went out too soon and he was turning his life to a level and layer of becoming one of the greats in Memphis. But we cannot save them all. We need to take this as a learning lesson to be careful. Be out there if we're going to be out in the streets or be in the same place that we used to be at. Sometimes you can't hang in the same place that you used to hang out when you get a little higher up the echelon. So this should be a learning lesson to all of us. And if somebody tells you not to come back somewhere, sometimes they mean it because there's something going on, or there might be a level and layer of your life in danger. And people tried to save him and tell him, but sometimes our egos outweigh our level and layer of our safety. So we have to be careful in this. And I want to make sure we end this live on a level and layer of a teachable moment and a level and layer of Rip to the young Dolph. May you rest in peace, rest in heaven, Rip, rest in heaven, Rip. and a level layer of we love you and we're so sorry you're so gone. And to Young Dolph's family, we are so sorry to the mother, the father of Young Dolph, and to the wife of Young Dolph and his children. I hope that people put things together to make sure that the children have a college fund and something to help them through all of this, and a level layer of money to be able to bring a level layer of some type of compensation for this. You can't compensate for death and money, but a level layer of making sure we do a level layer of protecting the children and their legacy and things like that. And yes, and narcs will talk to people, they're just as craftier when they back off. And then, yes, a level layer of that. And then again, rest in heaven and things like that to Young Dolph. And I want you guys to understand that this live was meant for a level layer of learning, a teachable moment, and the things that happen with Rittenhouse case and things like that, the acquittal. What does it say? So I'm going to go and end this live. You guys are welcome to come back to the Talk Radio Live. We're going to get on there and we're going to do an after show for the show that I did earlier. So you guys can come back for that, and we're going to have a level layer of conversation on all that. So my student's going to come back on, and we're going to have that conversation. So you're welcome to come live and a level layer that at IMCC Coaching. So you guys take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.